Okay, greetings class. This is server class 2110. We are doing case project 9.2, and the case project is to break down a subnet mask on a given network, right? So we're given in the assignment 198.60.123.0, and this is called the CIDR, which stands for classless interdomain routing. So the CIDR is a /24, and basically what that means is you are able to use 254 addresses for this particular IP address. So the internet service provider gives you the 198.60.123.0/24, right? It's giving you that IP range, and it's saying you can use 254 IP addresses. Now, how do we get 254 IP addresses out of the /24? Each one of these is considered an octet, and you're working in a octet or 8 bits, right? And out of those 8 bits, it's giving you the IP address within those bits, but we want to break it down further. So, for example, I think this is 198. In that last octet, we're not using any of these bits, right? So that means we're getting 8 times 1, 2, 3, right? So this is 255, right? We're able to use all subnet masks in that octet, right? So 8 times 1, 2, 3 is a /24, and we're not using anything in that last octet, right? So we put a 0 there, right? So 8 times 3 is /24, right? So out of that octet, we can have 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, well, which gives us a total of 254 addresses. Right? So the question is asking that we need to split this up, right? We have 254 addresses, but we want to split up this IP address, right? We don't want to just say, okay, here's all 254 addresses in one area. Let's say we have other corporate customers, right? 16 corporate customers that need to use this IP address. So what we need to do is we need to split up the subnet mask in order to give each customer about 10 to 14 public IP addresses, right? So basically this is what we have to do. We have to say, okay, a /24 is right here, right? So /24, and that gives us 254 usable IP addresses. So what if we go 255.255. Let's take the first one out of there. So we're just putting a 1 there. So 128, right? So this is now a /25 because we're using that first one in this last octet, right? So how many usable IP addresses do we have, right? So if we take 255 minus, let's do an equals here, just to 255 minus 128. Actually, I'm sorry, 254 is what's usable minus 128. We have 126 IP addresses that we can use here, right? But our question is asking for us to break it down into about 10 to 14 for 16 customers, right? So we have to keep going. A /25 doesn't satisfy that. All right, we'll take this out of here. So a /25 is not satisfying 10 to 14 for 16 customers. We can't give out that. So we have to put another, we have to use another part of that last octet, right? So then we add up, so we want to add up 128 plus 64, which gives us 192. So now if we use 2 of those, 255.255.255.192, we have just made a /26. We have just made our /26. So now what we have to do is take 254 minus 192 I should have put equals there because it won't calculate for me, so let's do that. One second. 254 minus 192. And now we have 62. Does that meet our requirement? It does not. So we have to do another one, right? We have to take another one from that octet. So now we're going to add 32 to 192, right? Or we could simply add all three of these up here to see where we're at with our subnet. So now we're at 224, right? And that is now a /27. 255.255.255. So how many IP addresses are usable? Well, we have to take 254 minus 224, which will give us 30. And that still does not meet our requirement, because our requirement is to get 16 corporate customers about 10 to 14 IP addresses, right? So we got to keep going even further. So we're going to go take it another one. We have to take another one from our octet. 255. This is not changing our IP address. This is changing the subnet mask. It's changing our ability to break down that IP address scope that we've gotten, right? So we need to add 16 to this, which would be what? Equals 224 plus 16, 240 /28. I see the typo, so I want to get that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 240, 254 plus 240, and we get 14, right? So now we can give out 14 IP addresses with each one of these subnets. So what I have to do now is I have to take the IP address that they've given me, so 198.60.123.0, sorry about that, 123.0, and I have to start breaking it down into a /28. So I would have to break down the ranges. So the first one, the first IP address in any subnet is not usable. It's called the network IP address. So we'll say .0 is the network. The last one in each one is called the broadcast, right? So in this /28, right, we're going to give this a /28. So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and break down the first one for you, and then you can do the rest. So we know that 198.60.123 is the network, right? The 0 is the network. That means it's reserved for the network to use. And the last one, right, the 198.60.123.14, that's called the broadcast, okay? So everything in between there, 198.60.123.1, .2, .3, and we keep going down. In this /28, the customer can use, right, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't use the 0. That's the network. They still get assigned that. They can't use the 14. That's the broadcast. They still get assigned that, but they cannot use it. So our first customer we're giving a /28 would take up 0 to 14. Our next customer would get 198.60.123.15, right? /28, right? I'm not sure why it keeps doing that on the slash. It's /28. So they're starting at 15 and they're given a /28, right? So the 15 would be the network, right? They can't use that. The last one of that, so 15 plus 14, 29 would be the broadcast, right? And we just keep going, right? And so they can use 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So our first answer we would give is this one, right? In our chart, we would write 192.68.123.0/28, right? Our subnet mask would be 255.255.255.240, which is the /28. So here we would have 255.255.255.240. And our first subnet or subnetwork would be 198, right? 198.60.123.0/28, right? And we would give out 1 through 14, right? And then the next one here would be 198.60.123.0, or sorry, .15/28, and we would give out 16 through 29, right? So that's how we would break that down. We would be able to satisfy our customers with breaking down the public IP addresses that we've been given so that we can give it to our other members, right? We're subnetting it. We're breaking it down for them to use. I hope you have a better understanding of that. I hope you have a better understanding of subnet mask, and I wish you good luck on that, on the case project. Thanks.